Okay, welcome back. I'm going to show you next how to put a post on, because some people aren't always sure with WordPress. The dashboard will actually nowadays give you right to your first blog post, or what I tend to do is go across to posts. I usually click on that and then click on add new. You can go direct to add new, or it's up on that screen there, but they know that people find it. I'm going to move the screen across a bit so that you can maybe see. I'll squash the screen down a bit so you can see what it is. Okay. You'd put your post title in, so post title goes here, and then you need to put some text. And what I'm going to do is just put some Latin text in, just because it's easy to generate, because there's sites that do it, so bear with. Okay, the Latin's meaningless, it's just what typewriter, printers and things have used as placeholder text effectively. So we've got it's called lorem ipsum. If you want to generate it just for clients or whatever, you can just find loads of sites that will generate that. Ignore that, it's just there to put some quick content in rather than you watching me type stuff out. That's the title I'm going to use, and that's the main post. Now coming back further down, as you can see that it's got it as a demo site at the moment, so SEO title is the first bit that I put in, and you can see it change there. The focus on that page is going to be that. Wouldn't normally be, but that's it. And then the meta description is just going to be, normally you would craft this, because I'll show you what it does in a second, but let's put some gibberish in. I'm sure Romans would disagree with me, and that tells me that I've got less characters left. Now, right, what that'll do, meta description is limited. Actually, let's go back to the title. The title's limited to 70 characters. I'd go with 65 rather than 70. What happens is that Google will cut it off after that. Well, in fact before that usually. So 65 to 70 characters is your title. 156 characters is the meta description. Now normally what that would be, I'm cutting the wrong bit there, a call to action. But you can see it will appear there, and because it knows that's your focus keyword, it will do what Google does, which is bold the bits that happen. Once you're happy with that, you can either save as a draft, which I'm going to do, or you could have published. That's the next bit I'm going to talk about. If you remember, we set the permalink up, and that's a bit long, so I'm going to cut that down to size, change that. Up to you whether you do that or not, but if the URL goes on for too long, I find it a bit yucky. And then the power of Yoast is, once you've set all those, you can also do a page analysis. That says it's very difficult to read. That's because it's Latin. Yes, it would be. Keyword density is low because I haven't really done very much on that. There's no images. Page title is a bit short. Not got any outbound links, no subheadings. But the keyword phrase appears in the title, so you can see these change from red as warnings, amber as okayish, and green as fine. And you can follow through the recommendations as you see fit, really. Advanced, generally you wouldn't go into here. The defaults are fine. But what this means is you can go right the way down to page level and say, set the robots text, various meter tags on the page, so you can, if you want the whole page to be no follow, it can be useful if it's a link off to other sites you don't really care about. Leave it, normally it's indexed, but if you again didn't want it indexed by the search engines, and that's only a recommendation, so don't rely on that, you can change that, and you can do those, and if what I was doing to highlight more than one, you can hold the control key down to do more than one. So none of those, including the site sitemap auto detect, which comes back to the settings we set earlier. Sitemap priority, do it automatically, because you're never going to do that. I don't. It's only a recommendation anyway. Google will totally ignore it. Canonical is something that basically it can be important, but it probably isn't. If you're not doing almost identical pages, then you won't use that. If you are, then just read up on it, because it's longer than I can explain in the video and most people won't need it. 301 redirect. What that means is if you had an old page that was still linked to by people but is now out of date and it's now been replaced by a new page, I don't know if it's last year's packages that you're offering and now you want to redirect to this page, this year's packages, and you've changed the page name, then you'd use that 301 redirect box. Related posts, yet another related post plugin will do. And then the publish button will actually make that live on the site. Sometimes takes a little while, but not very long usually. View post. There we have the first page on our site. A couple of other things you can do on that, but we'll show you those in next but one video. So that's as easy as it is, and if you make any changes to that page, you'll see that the publish button changes to update. So we'll come back to, we'll do a bit more on posts in the next video. Okay, a few more things we're going to do on this post. First one is add one of those things. Just hover over it, it says insert more tag. I'll show you why this matters in a minute, but basically after about the first paragraph or so, insert a more tag, because what that'll do, basically I'll explain it later properly, but basically what it'll do, on the front page of your site you're just going to show an excerpt from the post, and that defines where the excerpt is. It gives you control over it rather than letting some software do. Next up, one of the things, if you remember, Yoast said about was an image, and I'll generally add an image into the post. Not always, but if I've got one that's relevant and you need to make sure that you've got the copyright for it, I'll show you a site actually now where you can get those. Just a minute. Okay, the site's called Stock Exchange, and that's actually shortened to the letters SXC, Sierra X-Ray Charlie .hu, which is H for hotel, U for uniform. It's owned by Getty Images, but obviously by the HU extension it wasn't originally then. What you can do is search for an image. So let's go image, let's be really brave. And it will bring up usually some premium results there, but you just go for the regular results. Pick on one of them, hover over it, and you can see a slightly larger image. That's cash register, that's obviously a coin of some sort, quite an old one. And that one has extra restrictions. The guy must be notified and credited, so I ignore those. Many can't be bothered to go through that process. I want to use it now or not at all. So got a nice tranquil looking scene there. Scroll down, that needs whatever. So you just scroll through, find an image that you like, and then just double check that you're allowed to. That one, standard restrictions apply, that one's fine. Now you can copy, right click and copy the image there, or you can click on it to get a really big picture, and that's what I'd normally do. It looks blurry because that's just how that particular image is, because it's focusing on that flower. And that's a really big image. If we look at image properties, image info, that's 4,000 pixels almost by 2,500 pixels. That's big. I'll download that, save it somewhere, and then add media. Now I'm not going to use that particular one. Actually I could, let's do it for simplest. Okay, I've saved that giant image. Then click your cursor where you want the image to be and click the Add Media button. Now you can do this with PDFs, you can do it with audio files, anything, but I'm going to select that one. You can either click Select Files or you can do Upload Files. It'll bring up the same window somewhere. Okay, I've done select file now, and here are some I've saved earlier, including that particular one. So let's just find it. Just bear with me. That one, click it, and it will upload. You can see the progress. It's quite fast because I'm on fast broadband. And what it will then do, it'll give it a title. Because I'm going lorem ipsum as my SEO'd word, I gave it that name. And what I'll do is change that so it's got spaces in it. Click in the Alt box and add image, if I can spell. And then you get different options here. Right align because that's what I last used. Let me just move that up a little bit. Link to a custom URL. No, it's just going to go to its ordinary one. Size medium. Insert into post. It'll put it there. And then if you hover or click on the image, you'll find two things. One gets rid of it. Don't click on that because you have to go through the whole process again. Edit image, and that brings up an editing box. There you can see the alt text to put in. Link URL. Link to image. So what that'll do, it's got a small image in the post and a larger one that it links to. That's good for SEO purposes. It works nicely. And then click across to advanced settings. I'll tend to put a border of 5 pixels around it. You can see Firefox has remembered that for me. And that link I've just told it to do, open in a new window and update. Open a new window just means if someone actually clicks on the image, it doesn't take them away from that post. It just opens a new tab in their browser. And if we then go down to page analysis again, you'll see that it's now said you've got an image. So that's useful. Then remember to update, otherwise WordPress doesn't always tell you to. And then whatever work you did is all in vain. These other things over here, you can, if you click publish and didn't want to, you can change it to pending review or draft. Visibility defaults to public, but if you want that post to be completely private or password protected, you can do those. Public and sticky, you're probably not going to, but you might want to, but there's better ways of doing that. And then scheduling. If you want to change the date of the post, you can change the date in there. So it knows it's January, it knows it's this year, it knows today's date, I was recording it, and it knows today's time. But you can change that and you can publish in the future, and WordPress will then just drip feed those. Formatting, don't do very much about. We've got a category of uncategorized, it's in that, but if you wanted a new category, that tags I tend not to use. Featured image I tend not to use. So that's basically it. That's all done, and if we click view post again, you'll see that the image is in there, and clicking on the image brings up a new one of that fantastically detailed thing. Okay, that's it for those. We'll then go on to pages in a minute. We've done one already, which is the contact page, but I'll show you another one, and that'll probably just about wrap it up. So see you in the next video. Okay, we're also going to add a new page to the site now. WordPress differentiates between what it calls posts and pages. Typically a page will appear in the contact bar. So if we go, in the main site navigation. So if we go to the demo site, open a new tab for us, and you'll notice that we've now got home and contact. So I'm going to add another page, and actually what I'm going to do, because I want the contact page to be around about the right hand side of the menu bar, what you can do is a little thing called order. That normally defaults to nothing and it just then goes alphabetical, but if we put that to 100 and go update, and then we're going to add a new page, which is going to be, I'm going to call it all about, because whatever, and we're just going to add some waffly text. You can again change that, and we can go down to Yoast and change SEO title and whatever. That will freak because I'm not there, but it'll be fairly happy with what I'm typing there. This is just for demo purposes. You'd spend a lot more time on it than this. Now across on the right, I've got all the stuff from before with visibility, publish immediately and stuff like that. You can put it below the contacts. So if you want to do menus, you'd use that. So that's where you use parent. Default template. Now this is going to be the front page of my site, and you either do, you've got a choice there, a front page template or a full width template with no sidebar, or the default. This is going to be the front page, so I'm actually going to call it front page template. And that's the exclude pages from navigation. That only includes on pages, not posts. So if we did another one called privacy, we'd untick that, because typically we'll put that somewhere else, out of the way, tucked, hidden, but visible. If that makes sense, it won't be on the main menu bar. So we got that, and click back to the demo site there, move that across. So we got home, all about me, and contact. That's going to change in a minute, but all about me is what we just put there. And home at the moment is just that snippet. You remember I put that more thing in there? That's where continue reading happens. Now we're about to change that. So back to the dashboard. Got one more page to add first, because this particular site I'm going to basically have as pretty much fixed pages mainly, but also a kind of news section. And I'm going to call that news section a blog, just because everyone else seems to. And that's all that's going to go in there. Literally a title and a blank page. The reason for that you'll see in a minute. So that's there. If we view the page, it's boringly blank. I haven't edited out the comments, but I don't need to on that one. I do on the main about me page. So go back into there and edit, scroll down the bottom, get rid of that, update. Okay, so down across to settings, remember there was something that was called reading. Front page displays currently your latest posts. We're not going to go for that, because this is kind of a more corporate-y site, or one that you want to sell from the front page on, and you just want the other stuff to support it. And the front page is going to be all about me, and the posts page is going to be the blog. That's why you leave it blank. Each article will show whatever. Let's go for summary. And at the moment let's discourage search engines, because this is completely demo site, but normally you would make sure that was unticked so that you'd allow them to go for it. Save changes, go back to the site, visit the site, and now the main page is all about me, and the blog is there with our first post on it, but only that first bit, and then the continue reading goes to the main bit. So that's how you'd set up the main site. It's actually, once you've done one or two of them, it's dead easy, and if you're not, just come back to this video. It's quite short, and just refresh your memory. But essentially it's do pages for ordinary contact. So you do one for maybe the products you offer, one for about you, another one for something else, whatever it happened to be, and a privacy page which you're going to use the thing that it calls appearance and widgets, and there's a footer somewhere. I think it's the second front page widget area. We just play around and test it doesn't break anything, and you just put your privacy page in, and you'd use just a text thing, and a lot depends on your theme on that one. And talking of themes, we'll have a play around with the theme next. So see you in the next video. Okay, we're going to talk about themes briefly. Now, the reason I've left this till last is that although everyone frets over how their website looks, in practice you've actually got a bit of time to get this sorted out, because the most important thing in my mind is to get some content up there and get Google crawling round, because until they've done that, humans aren't going to even look at the site anyway apart from you. So you can do content first, which is what I'd suggest, and then themes soon after. The default nowadays is 2012 theme, which is, as you've seen, quite ugly. Now, to my mind, obviously change that wording, but to my mind I'm quite happy with that, because I want people to, if I'm doing a site, I want people to basically read the text, look at the images if need be, and click on links and buy stuff. But a lot of people prefer to have something that looks a little bit prettier. If you've got, like I showed you with HostGator where it installed earlier versions, you'll have probably 2010 and definitely 2011 themes there as well. If it's gone straight to version 3.5, you won't. You'll just have the 2012 theme, the one that they're happiest with recently. But any other installed themes, you can click on the thing that says Live Preview, and it does what it says on the tin. It gives you a preview of what the site would look like, and basically all that's done is change the header. But you can also change the tagline, so and that happens as it goes, but it won't save it because I'm not going to tell it to. You can change the colours, so just clicking light or dark will give you that. Personally, I don't like reversed out text, which is where it's white on black. I much prefer black and white, it's easier to read. The layout, content to the left is standard nowadays, don't change that unless you're graphics designer freaks, but basically don't change it. Header image you can change. Background image, I tend not to use one, I find it distracting. Static front page is what we set on the other one, so you can cancel out of that. And then install themes. Now that will give you the standard WordPress search, and it's very easy to get distracted on there for ages. You can do all sorts of things. I find that those tend to narrow them down quite a lot, but you can search for a keyword, search for newest if you're one of these people that prefers newest, and you can preview any of those. And so you choose one that you think looks okay, you can preview it, and it now previews you what your current site would look like ish on that. Close out of that, and you go through, and as I said, you can spend hours, or you can find a graphics designer who will just design you a site for however much money you want to pay them. They're all over the place on pricing, ranging from very, very cheap to very, very expensive and all points in between. And you just tell them you want a WordPress design. Or you can go to a site like Theme Forest, which the URL for this will be in the PDF that accompanies this course. As you can see, there's 8,000 at the time of viewing, and you can search by WordPress, which is what you want. Now these are themes that other people will have used. That's fair enough. Again, you can choose whatever, so your corporate look, you can go for that. It doesn't much matter with the fact that other people have used it. You won't be the only one in the world. There's millions upon millions of websites out there. And if you're going to search, it'll default by date. Don't do that. If you want a shortcut, go by sales. So you find the site designs that have been, and they're roughly $50 at Theme Forest. They're not much different. Some are $45, some are $40, but most are $50, $55. And then you can preview that and see why other people like it. And you've got screenshots, live previews, all sorts of things, and a sales pitch on what it does. So if you're stuck for a theme, Theme Forest is a good place to start if you can't find one in the default themes, but there are loads of those, and some of them, again, if we go for a search, one word I often just type in is premium, because those tend to be slightly more corporate-y, that particular one. But a premium theme isn't premium because WordPress will only link to ones that are free or start free, and then you have the option of paying more. So that particular one looks like a very good slideshow type one, very standard modern design. You can install it literally by clicking install, and you can activate. Doesn't matter, you can always go back to the previous one. So that's now activated. Demo site, visit the site. That's as quick as it was to change the look and feel of the WordPress site. I don't particularly like that design, but that's fine. You can do that regularly, and you just go back and reinstall 2012, wherever that's gone to. Activate. That's how you change the look and feel of WordPress. So now you know everything that you need to know. If you don't, there's a few places you can go for support. One is Fiverr, where there's people that will sort out any WordPress problem you've had. Often for just $5, sometimes for 2 or 3 lots of $5, it varies. Or you can search YouTube, there's tutorials on WordPress coming out of your ears. But this will give you 95% upwards of what you need to know, and the other 5% will be individual to you, so you'll need to find what you need to find, if that makes sense. But thanks for watching, and if you've got any general questions, drop me an email. I'll do my best to reply or point in the right direction. Okay, thank you very much.